That goes back 2 years. It started in 2010. I don't remember the name of the negotiator the borough had in 2010. I know in 2011 it was Mr. Doyle from the Dakotas law firm. They were dealing with a PBA union attorney. In the past, we used to use Mr. E. Carter Carson, our attorney, and never had a problem with the police, and never had a union. But starting in 2010, all of a sudden we now had a PBA union, and that's usually caused by a friction between the patrolmen and the borough, of which Republican friends were in charge. What happened for 2 years was negotiations going back and forth between the two groups with zero accomplishments, or zero, let's say, no movement on either side. They had to go to arbitration. Now, you have to understand that police negotiators are seasoned negotiators. These guys are good. We had very good attorneys, but they're not negotiators. They were not seasoned negotiators. And they more or less got eaten alive by the union people, which was an absolute fact. The borough came out on the short end of this arbitration. The only thing that was good, according to some people, that happened was that our deputy chief was allowed to become a member of the union, management becoming a member of the rank and file, which is unheard of in the state of New Jersey because they have their own association. And in doing that, it caused the deputy chief, who's a good friend of mine, by the way, become the highest paid police officer in Englewood Cliffs, higher than the salary that the chief of police gets, which is also something unheard of. We were at an impasse. And I've dealt with the police of my many years in service at Englewood Cliffs. Dealt them all the time, always got along fine, and we always negotiated, and at the end it was just a handshake. You want this, we'll give you this, back and forth, one meeting, done. Right? So Mr. Plowker, who's the head of our police committee, and I asked the chief of police if he could set up a meeting between the rank and file with their union permission to meet with us and talk it out like we always used to do. The union attorney didn't approve of it, but the rank and file wanted it, so we met at Borough Hall. All the cops who weren't on duty were all there, and we asked what the problem was. What is the problem? And they said that as most of them patrolmen, they were doing the jobs of sergeants, lieutenants, some of them even doing the job of a captain, but without the pay for that rank. And if they were going to do a higher ranks job, they wanted the money, which is understandable. So I said, our question to them was, well, right now we owe you, according to the arbitrator, $550,000 to pay you for all this money, all this time you guys spent out of rank, is what they called it, out of rank. We said, how can we make the $550,000 go away? And they said, well, if you would give us promotions. Well, how many promotions? And it was 14. I said, you've got to be kidding, 14? I said, well, let us check it out. We went to our auditor, we went to our CFO, we calculated what it would cost if each of these gentlemen, or patrolmen, were raised to sergeant, sergeants raised to lieutenant, lieutenants raised to captain, what it would cost us per year. And the number came out to be $80,000. Simple arithmetic says if it's costing me $550,000, this is going to cost me only $80,000. You subtract it, that's a big number you're saving, over $450,000. So we brought that back to the mayor and council, and they said, hey, 450 grand is a lot of money. We said we'll go along with it, but we have to try to explain to the taxpayers who might not understand that you're making promotions and saving all this money. That was number one. Number two, the other thing was the overtime. And we said, you guys are killing us with the overtime. But he said, well, it's not us. It's just we're getting the overtime, but it's the scheduling. We're short men in the squads. What we need is 4 or 5 new guys. So we figured out the overtime was costing, I believe it was close to $600,000. That's a lot of money, $600,000. We calculated out if we hired 4 cops at a minimum salary of $30,000 plus benefits, so maybe make it $40,000 altogether. It's $160,000. as compared to the $600,000 in overtime, right? They said, now, we'll still have to have some overtime. So we figured their salaries, 40 times 4, 160, overtime of $175,000. So that comes up to $330,000 as compared to $600,000. That's a savings of $270,000 on top of the $450,000. So we said, my God, we're talking way over $500,000 we're going to save by making the promotions and hiring on the four new patrolmen. And that's part of the money that's going into for next year, is to reduce the money that we had to take out of surplus. Right?